Yo, America, ever heard of the Harlem Renaissance? If not, buckle up, because you're about to get schooled on one of the most electrifying chapters in American history. Picture this, the 1920s, Harlem, New York, a neighborhood buzzing with energy, hope, and the unstoppable drive of a people ready to make their mark. Think of it as a cultural explosion, a party so epic it redefined what it meant to be black in America. The streets pulsed with jazz, the clubs overflowed with laughter and rhythm, and everywhere you looked, creativity was breaking free from every boundary. We're talking music that made your feet move, art that made you stop and stare, and literature that made you think twice about everything you thought you knew. Jazz legends, poets, painters, and thinkers all gathered here, each one adding their own flavor to the mix. Forget the Charleston folks, this was the real deal. Harlem was alive with new dances, new sounds, and a new sense of pride. The Renaissance wasn't just about having a good time, it was about claiming space, about saying, we're here and we're brilliant. This wasn't just a moment in time, it was a movement, a revolution. People came together to celebrate their heritage, to demand respect, and to show the world the power of black voices united in purpose and passion. Harlem became a beacon of black excellence, shining a light on the creativity and resilience of a people determined to tell their own stories, on their own terms. The world was watching, and Harlem delivered, boldly, beautifully, and unapologetically. Buckle up, Buttercup, because we're about to take a trip back to a time when the music swung, the poetry snapped, and the art spoke volumes. This was a place where dreams were born, where barriers were shattered, and where the future of American culture was being rewritten every single night. Get ready to meet the legends, feel the rhythm, and understand why the Harlem Renaissance still matters today, because the echoes of this era are still with us, in our music, our art, our words, and our fight for justice. The Renaissance wasn't just a party, it was a promise, and its legacy lives on. Now, before we get to the good times, let's talk about the before times. See, life for African Americans in the early 1900s was no walk in the park. Imagine Jim Crow laws, segregation, and discrimination. Basically, a whole lot of no's thrown their way, for no good reason. Opportunities? Scarce. Justice? Even scarcer. It was enough to make you want to holla, is this what freedom feels like? But even in the face of hardship, black folks found ways to survive, to create, to hope. They held onto their faith, their families, and their dreams of a better tomorrow. Little did they know that tomorrow was just around the corner in a little place called Harlem. So picture this, the dawn of the 20th century. The South is singing a sad song of segregation, but up north, industries are booming, hungry for workers. Word starts spreading like wildfire. There's a place called Harlem, and it's got jobs, opportunity, and a whole lot less hate. And bam, the Great Migration begins. African Americans from all over the South packed their bags and boarded trains, heading north with dreams bigger than their suitcases. Harlem became a melting pot of cultures, languages, and experiences, all united by a shared history and a burning desire for something better. And let me tell you that something better was about to get real good. Now let's talk about the stars of our show, the brilliant minds and creative spirits who made the Harlem Renaissance truly unforgettable. This was a time when Harlem was bursting with energy, alive with music, art, and ideas. The neighborhood became a magnet for dreamers, thinkers, and doers, people who believed in the power of their voices and their visions. These geniuses didn't just entertain, they inspired, challenged, and changed the world around them. We got writers like Langston Hughes, painting pictures with words, making poetry sing and stories dance. Hughes was more than just a poet. He was a storyteller for the people, capturing the joys, struggles, and dreams of black Americans. His verses echoed through jazz clubs and living rooms alike, giving voice to those who had long been silenced. He wrote about hope, pain, and pride, and his words still resonate today. Zora Neale Hurston, with her sharp wit and even sharper pen, capturing the everyday lives of black folks with humor and heart. Hurston was a folklorist, novelist, and anthropologist, diving deep into the stories and traditions of her community. She celebrated the richness of black culture, bringing its voices and rhythms to the page in a way no one else could. Her work was bold, unapologetic, and full of life. Then there's Duke Ellington, the king of cool, tickling the ivories and making jazz music swing like never before. Ellington's music was the heartbeat of Harlem, filling clubs with electrifying energy and innovation. He blended classical influences with the raw emotion of jazz. creating sounds that were both sophisticated and soulful. His orchestra became legendary, and his compositions set the standard for generations to come. And let's not forget the artists, the painters and sculptors who brought the movement to life with color, form, and imagination. They transformed blank canvases into powerful statements, using their art to express pride, resilience, and hope. Aaron Douglas, with his bold colors and powerful imagery, capturing the spirit of the movement in every brushstroke. His work blended African heritage with modern styles, creating a visual language that was uniquely his own. Douglas's murals and illustrations became symbols of pride and progress, inspiring countless others to pick up a brush and tell their own stories. These were the voices of a generation, using their talents to challenge stereotypes, celebrate Black identity, and demand to be seen, heard, and respected. Together, they formed a constellation of genius, lighting up Harlem and leaving a legacy that still shines bright today. Here's the thing about the Harlem Renaissance. It wasn't just about looking good, it was about feeling good too. Jazz music filled the air, its rhythm and improvisation speaking to the soul. Poetry slams became the talk of the town, words flowing like water, carrying messages of hope, anger, and pride. Art exhibitions showcased the beauty and complexity of Black life, defying those who dared to look away. These artists weren't just entertainers, they were revolutionaries, using their craft to dismantle the status quo, one note, one verse, one brushstroke at a time. They were proving that Black art wasn't just Black art, it was American art, and it deserved its place on the world stage. The thing about revolutions, they rarely stay put. The Harlem Renaissance was like a stone thrown into a pond, its ripples spreading far beyond the streets of Harlem. Its influence seeped into mainstream American culture, changing the way people saw, heard, and thought about Black people. Suddenly, Black artists were being featured in Hollywood films, Broadway shows, and prestigious art galleries. Jazz music infiltrated radio waves, its infectious energy impossible to ignore. The Harlem Renaissance had planted a seed, and it was growing into a mighty oak, its branches reaching out to touch every corner of American society. So why should we care about a cultural explosion that happened a century ago? What makes the Harlem Renaissance more than just a chapter in a history book, more than just a distant memory? The answer is simple, yet profound. Because its impact is still felt today, echoing through our music, our art, our literature, and even the way we see ourselves and each other. The Harlem Renaissance was a turning point, a moment when Black artists, writers, and musicians claimed their voices and demanded to be seen, heard, and celebrated. Because the Harlem Renaissance wasn't just a moment in history, it's a reminder of the power of art to inspire, to challenge, and to transform. It was a movement that broke barriers and shattered stereotypes, showing the world the richness and diversity of Black culture. Through jazz, poetry, painting, and dance, artists in Harlem created a new language of expression, one that spoke of hope, pain, joy, and resilience. Their creativity lit a spark that would ignite future generations, influencing everything from the civil rights movement to today's hip-hop and spoken word scenes. It's a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, the ability to create beauty even in the face of adversity. Imagine the courage it took to dream big in a world that often tried to silence those dreams. These artists faced discrimination, poverty, and countless obstacles, yet they persisted. They turned struggle into song, hardship into poetry, and pain into paintings that still move us today. Their stories remind us that creativity can be a form of resistance, a way to reclaim dignity and power. The Harlem Renaissance reminds us that Black history is American history, and that our stories, our voices, and our experiences matter. It's about pride, unity, and the celebration of identity. The movement brought people together, families, neighbors, and strangers, creating a sense of community that was both empowering and transformative. It challenged the status quo and demanded recognition, not just for Black artists, but for the entire Black community. It's a call to action, urging us to embrace our own creativity, to celebrate our differences, and to fight for a more just and equitable world. The legacy of the Harlem Renaissance lives on in every artist who dares to dream, in every community that comes together to uplift its members, and in every person who believes in the power of art to change lives. We are all part of this ongoing story, and we each have a role to play in keeping its spirit alive. So let's keep the spirit of the Renaissance alive, y'all. Let's honor those who came before us by continuing to create, to innovate, and to lift each other up. Whether you're an artist, a musician, a writer, or simply someone who loves to celebrate culture, you are part of this legacy. Let's make some noise, create some magic, and show the world that the fire ignited in Harlem all those years ago is still burning bright. The Renaissance isn't over, it lives on in us, in our communities, and in every act of creativity and courage. So go ahead, shine your light, and let's keep the legacy lit.